Picture a quiet suburban street. On one side, you have a grumpy, frugal grandpa sitting peacefully on his porch. On the other side, his neighbor pulls up in a blindingly loud sports car, instantly posing for a selfie. If you asked anyone watching, they'd say the neighbor is the rich one. But the old man on the porch knows the truth. That neighbor isn't wealthy, he's just heavily in debt, and every dollar of that debt is a piece of his future that somebody else owns. This feeling of falling behind your neighbors is a trap entirely based on a broken yardstick. In the 1950s, if you compared your success to the family next door, you were measuring yourself against a pretty standard 800 square foot house. But today, the comparison group has changed. Look at this guy. This is Mr. Beast. Thanks to social media algorithms, a 9-year-old's baseline definition of rich is no longer a shiny new pickup truck. It's a private island and a private jet, beamed directly into their brains 100 times a day. What keeps people broke in this environment is rarely a lack of intelligence. It is simply ignorance of how money actually works. True financial success has nothing to do with attending Harvard or possessing secret Wall Street formulas. It requires fixing the psychological trap of how you measure your own life. Take a look at this equation. Happiness equals reality minus expectations. It is strict mathematics. All human contentment lives entirely in the gap between the life you actually have and the life you expect to have. But watch what happens to the math. If you get a raise and your reality improves, but your expectation for a bigger apartment and nicer clothes rises even faster, your overall happiness drops below zero. To fix this, you have to understand exactly why you buy things. Every dollar you spend falls into one of two buckets. The first bucket is utility. That is money spent directly to make you and your family comfortable. Having stable housing, buying reliable food, and a safe car. The second bucket is status. That is money spent exclusively to impress strangers. Think about a valet parking a Ferrari at a luxury hotel. When you see that car, you never look at the driver and think, wow, that guy is cool. You ignore the driver entirely. You just imagine yourself in the driver's seat, assuming everyone else would be impressed by you. The ultimate irony of status spending is that nobody is thinking about you as much as you are. They are completely preoccupied with themselves. If you are barely paying your bills, the idea of saving small amounts of money feels useless. It feels like a punishment or a frustrating exercise in delayed gratification for a future that might never arrive. Now imagine our grumpy grandpa as a teenager, scraping together $15 from a part-time job and moving it from his checking account to a savings. He wasn't denying himself pleasure. He was making a direct transaction in the present moment. Every dollar you save is a purchase made today. You are buying a piece of your own future independence. You are buying a cushion against a medical emergency and a better night of sleep. Wealth is not the flashy material goods you can buy right now. Wealth is the invisible security of the money you choose not to spend. When it comes to investing that saved money, the financial industry wants you to believe you need an elite education to compete. You don't. The only skill required is patience. Consider Ronald Read. He spent his entire career working minimum wage jobs as a gas station attendant and a janitor. When he died, he left millions of dollars to charity. He simply saved what little he could, put it in the stock market, and left it alone for 70 years. Look closely at this man, Warren Buffett. He is universally recognized as the greatest investor alive. But this is the math of compound interest, where your money earns money on top of its previous gains. 99% of Buffett's massive net worth was accumulated after his 60th birthday. In the stock market, how long you stay invested matters exponentially more than the secret stock picks you make or the annual returns you chase. To build this kind of quiet wealth, you need two rules. First, automate your savings. Treat it like a mandatory 10% monthly expense, right alongside your rent and your groceries. Second, check your bank account balance every single day. It takes 10 seconds, but it cures financial ignorance and keeps you tied to your actual reality. Having massive amounts of money without independence is a psychological liability. This is Cornelius Vanderbilt. He amassed hundreds of billions of dollars and left it all to his heirs. Their only job was to live the most ostentatious lives possible. And almost without exception, they were absolutely miserable, trapped by the golden handcuffs of their family legacy. Compare those heirs to this man, Anderson Cooper. He was the first Vanderbilt descendant in over a century to receive no trust fund. Forced to build his own path, he found genuine self-determination and happiness. Back in our suburban driveway, the bill always comes due. The neighbor's algorithmic expectations eventually collapse under the weight of his debt, while the grandpa simply sips his tea. Rich is the loud money you spend to show off to strangers. Wealth is the silent independence of waking up every morning completely in control of your own time.